Hey members, this video is going to be a continuation of the last video, which was an essay that I took from a study guide of a 2015 SAT standardized test. Now in that essay, what I did was I took, or in that video, excuse me, what I did is I took that essay and I used it as an example of a good sound piece of composition, which is what's going to be expected of the students in either one of the standardized tests. Without a regard to what type of writing it is, okay, and how to present an argument and a thesis. Whereas this video is going to be expanding upon actually what the function of that essay was in the study guide, which was they gave an essay, an example of a piece of student writing, and the student who's doing the testing has to choose where in the essay is it appropriate to revise. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to read the sentence. Now, this sentence is taken from the first body paragraph of that composition of that essay, which was included in the excerpt that I did the video on. Although many artists of the 1970s used this method as well, their issues were not as severe that banning their album was possible. Now, that method that he's talking about was artists using music as a platform to kind of convey or dissipate their beliefs on any given topic or issue, whether it be socioeconomic, environmental, or anything like that. Okay, an issue like that. Okay, political, that. So artists using their music as a platform to communicate their ideas and important issues that need to be spoken upon in their time. Okay, so that's what he means by method, using music as a platform to communicate to the fans. Okay. Now, what I've done here is I've also written a thesis here so that we can remember what the purpose of that piece of writing was. What was the author trying to communicate? What was his argument? And that was the style, sounds, technology, and lyrics have been altered greatly. Okay, what he was talking about is, remember the first topic sentence of his introduction paragraph was that it's hard to argue that music has changed over the last 3 decades, over the last 30 years. So that is the whole topic of this. He's trying to prove, or he's trying to show how music has changed over the last 30 years by providing evidence and support to his claim. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the choices. A is the issues were less severe than those which caused banning their albums to be possible. B, the issues were not as severe that their albums were in danger of being banned. C, they never raised issues that could have caused their albums to be banned. D, the issues they raised were not serious enough that banning their album was a possibility. And lastly, E, they raised less serious issues and banning their albums was not likely. Okay, now what we're revising is the sentence that's underlined in pink, which is their issues were not as severe that banning their album was possible. So let's start with A. As you can see, I've already made some notes here. What I've done is I've boxed in the verb caused and I've boxed in the word there. Okay, now let's start with there. This is wrong because this doesn't show us, it's not presenting the dichotomy or the comparison between contemporary artists and artists of the 1970s. The way that this sentence is written is only referring to the artists of the 1970s, right? Now, why is that? And I've written here a possessive adjective. Now, this is the reason why the sentence is wrong, is because of the presence of this possessive adjective. And the function of a possessive adjective is to show possession of the subject of the sentence that it's being used in. So in this particular sentence, there is referring to what? Many artists in the 1970s, which is why I say it doesn't give us the other side of the argument, which is very important, comparing how differently artists of the 1970s and contemporary artists use their music as a platform to communicate their ideas on very important social issues, right? The second reason why this is wrong, because the verb cause, the tense of the verb cause, as you can see, it's written in past simple tense, which means it's a regular verb in past simple tense. All you have to do is add an "d" to it. Now, this presupposes that the artists of the 1970s have had their album banned, which caused their album to be banned, which doesn't make any sense because we're arguing. We already know by reading the first body paragraph that we're arguing that those artists in the 1970s were not in danger of having their albums banned. So it makes absolutely no sense because of those two things, right? So we can go ahead and eliminate choice A. Now let's look at choice B. The issues were not as severe that their albums were in danger of being banned. Now the reason that this is wrong is their issues is referring to the issues of the 1970s, artists in the 1970s, which is okay. That's what we're trying to explain. Why the discrepancy between those issues communicated by 1970s artists and contemporary artists. So it's their issues. Now that is also a possessive adjective, but it's being used correctly because who is their issues? Whose issues? Artists in the 1970s. And after that, we're going to explain why they weren't in danger of being banned. Because their issues were not as severe, that their albums were in danger of being banned. This is wrong on a couple of accounts. The first account is that it's making a subjective statement about the issues raised in the artist's songs of the 1970s. Now, we want to stay as far away as subjective writing as possible, and the reason for that is when you're writing a paper, what you're trying to do is you're presenting a thesis and you're providing evidence for the thesis. Now, the thesis may be an opinion, but which may be your opinion. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to provide evidence and all throughout your body paragraphs for that opinion that you pose or that argument that you pose, right? So how do we provide evidence? In three different ways, remember? They are facts, anecdotes, and counter-arguments. Those are the ways in which you can present evidence to prove your point or your argument or your thesis. Now, this is not doing either one of those. This is just making a qualitative, subjective statement about the issues that may have been raised in artists of the 1970s, right, through their music, right? Now, we want to stay as far away from that as possible because that's not good writing, right? Good writing should always contain those three things that you want to use as evidence to prove your argument, okay? The other issue is that the way it's written is not very fluent. The issues were not as severe that their albums were in danger of being banned. Okay, a better way to say that would be, even though this is also, I'm going to give you a subjective example of how to revise that sentence. It would be better, it would be more fluent if it was written like as the issues were not as severe that their albums may have been banned. Okay, that would be a better way to write that because you have the presence of that there. You have the presence of this possessive adjective again referring to another thing. And what the possessive adjective does is it shows possession again for the subject, which is the many artists of the 1970s. Okay. Now let's move on to C. They never raised issues that could have caused their albums to be banned. I will tell you this is the correct answer because it's the most fluent and it also I don't want to say it presupposes, but it also includes that whole dichotomy that we're talking about, that whole, what we're trying to do, that whole comparison of contemporary artists and artists of the 1970s, right? They never raised issues that could have caused their albums to be banned. Who is they? They is, remember this is part of one sentence. They is referring to the subject, the many artists of the 1970s. Okay, this is not making a subjective statement. This is just saying they never raised issues that could have caused their album to be banned. And the reason this is not subjective is because the use of the modal verb could. Okay, could have caused, right? The could is a modal verb, right? And what a modal verb does is present kind of a conditional situation, right? And that's why this is correct, because what they're saying is this sentence is not making a subjective statement about the issues that the artists of the 1970s raised. What it's saying is those issues that they raised at that time weren't serious enough to cause their album to be banned, given the state of affairs at that time. Now, we know times change, and people change, and ideas change. So how people thought in the 1970s is not the way they think now in the 2000s, okay? So that's what the presence of the modal verb does. It provides us that conditional situation, something that could have happened at that time, a condition that could have been met had another condition been met before that said condition, okay? And it's also the most fluent one. But for the sake of being thorough, let's also go through D and E and say why they're not correct. D says the issues they raised were not serious enough that banning their album was a possibility. See, this is wrong for the same reason that B and A are wrong. Okay, well not A but B, because it's making a qualitative statement, a subjective statement about the issues that they raise, without saying that, oh, those issues were not important to who at what time. Well, that's why C is correct, because we're saying that the issues that they raised were not serious at that time that could have caused at that time their album to be banned. This doesn't consider that aspect. Okay, it doesn't call into question how the times have changed and what might have been taboo back then. Okay, for people. So this is just making a statement about it in retrospect right now, saying now that I look back on those issues, I can say that they're not as important as the issues that contemporary artists deal with. So it's no wonder they didn't get banned. That is not correct. That is not a habit of good writing. Okay, you need to kind of include that condition because we're talking about two different time periods that are separated by a few decades. Okay, so that's a substantial amount of time. Now, let's look at E. They raised less serious issues and banning their albums was not likely. Okay, this is still wrong for the same reasons that B and D are wrong, right? It's making a subjective statement. They raised less serious issues. Now, who are we to say that those issues were less serious in retrospect now? But when that happened a few decades ago, we don't have a right because we weren't living back then, and those issues could have affected the lives just as seriously of people back then, just as seriously as the issues that contemporary artists deal with today. Okay, so it's not an issue of which one is worse, which one is more serious. It's not an issue of that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take in consideration how times have changed and say that the issues that the contemporary artists talk about now could be construed as being more offensive than those that the artists of the 1970s brought up, given their time period, okay? Because times have changed. Relative to time, that's what we're really trying to communicate in this revision. Relative to time, the possibility of an artist being banned was not likely in 1970 because of the time period that they lived in, without making any kind of subjective statement about the issues that those artists in the past brought up. So C is the most feasible revision to this entire sentence. Okay. Now that's the video, guys. If you like the video, be sure, as I always say, leave a comment in the comment box. If you would like to contact me about tutoring hours and fees, you can send me an email at jeteducate@gmail.com, or you can just feel free to message me through Facebook Messenger. Thanks, guys.